So they're not going to come on that board and make any kind of decision. I think that would be contrary to the mayor's policy or his position or so forth. But that it's important that they're there because, again, Metropolitan sells water, and sets policy for the entire Southern California region. So, and they have a very significant vote on that board because they have 4 people. So, but what I've found is that just some of the things that I know that they do. For example, the turf removal program. I think for LA, if you're in the LA DWP area, you get $3.75 or something like that. In West Basin, you only get $2 right now. Since we got the grant, it will be going up. But there are some things. Infrastructure, Scott's right, that's very costly. And so that's something that I think the entire water community needs to address is infrastructure because most of those pipes are 50, 100 years old, very old. And even in Gardena, you've probably seen on TV about the black water coming out of the faucet. That's real. That's very real. So, but the bottom, and then all the pipe breaks. But I do think people are doing what they need to do. But you know, as Democrats or as whatever it is, whatever your position is on whatever issue, you do need to convey that to your legislator.
I think we have time for one more question, and then we have that film. I'm so sorry. You guys are so interesting.
So do you want to pick the person?
No, not me.
Oh, you don't. Oh my.
I'll be fired.
Well, okay. I will. Well, we'll do 2.
Well, then you have to
We'll
limit
be
your
fast.
answers to a minute.
So we'll go with Nick first.
You answer Nick and I answer her. Back to you.
Well, so yes, we are going to get money out of Prop 1. Obviously, a big component of that for us is the recycled water component. So there's about $725 million in there. So we're obviously be looking to try and get some funding out of that. But of course, you know, we have to apply to it like all the other agencies. But of course, being a leader and having a lot more things in the pipeline, we can do things that are ready to go so we can justify it. So yes, between that and some other programs in there, we anticipate getting money out of that water bond, of course. We have about, like I said, 120 miles of pipeline that we're responsible for, which is the purple pipe through our distribution system from the water recycling plant. And our leak, I don't know the number offhand, but I could tell you it is very low. I mean, you know, but we could get the number for you, but it is. It's under 10%. It's probably down at 8% or less, but it is very low, and we're very cognizant of it. We have really good monitoring process, so you know, it's very imperative we're not leaking. Okay, last question.
Well, I think in that slide it showed what we're doing at the Etsy Little plant. We just completed phase 5, and it takes funding to add on to give it the ability to produce more recycled water. But that's the process. You know, we started with, you know, back in the 80s or whatever, when the 90s, I believe, when it started, and it wasn't producing the kind of water that it's doing now. So we're very proud of where it is.
I get you.
Well, you know, I think the scope is the fact that whatever recycled water is available. So as long as we have recycled water, then we can use it. As Scott mentioned, we're looking at recycled water to be a certain percentage of our water portfolio, as well as conservation and desal and others. So that's our target. Well, yeah, that's my whole point. You have to have funds to build increase the capacity so that you can have more recycled water. So it's an investment. It's a capital investment because you're adding on costs to increase that capacity. So, but again, it depends on how much water, recycled water is available, but our target is a certain percentage, as Scott has said.
Well, I'll just tie on and finish up. But no, it's actually a really great question. It's all about capacity, of course, and if you have a source in your jurisdiction, so we're fortunate we have the Hyperion plant right there. We're only taking 10% of the water, so we have a great source. It's an unending source of water that we have access to. So as we can build capacity, when I say that, I mean just the pipeline to get it and the pumps to get it to our plant, because we already can take more in, but we also have to be able to build the customer base to sell it to in the jurisdiction. But the other component in potentially the future is, instead of having recycled water that we put back into the ground and eventually you'll come back up into your system, you know, we might be doing what we call direct potable reuse, which is, it literally goes through the whole, you know, through the water treatment plant, gets treated and goes right back out into a jurisdiction, to a service area. Now you cannot do that by state law right now, but you know, the science is there and it's going that direction, and so I think West Basin, as well as a number of other agencies in the state, will continue to at least push the legislature to consider looking at that and go forward at some point. But it's a process, you know. But that would be, you know, you close the link in the chain. Right now, it's got to go through the ground and come back out. So you could increase capacity and reuse that way too.
Just one other thing I do want to say about recycled water. You know, WRD, which is the Water Replenishment District, which charges to replenish the West Basins. We have a partnership with them to use 100% recycled water to replenish those basins. That's really important because they do get water from Metropolitan to use that to replenish the basins. So once that 100% goal is used, that frees up imported water. So those are the things that West Basin is doing. And even in LA at the Hyperion plant, you're right, we get 10% of the water. And the rest of the water goes into the Santa Monica Bay or the Pacific Ocean. But LA has a plan to start recycling their water, to use some of that water. So there are plans to do this. And again, I think the governor is encouraging people to do all kinds of things like that. Tara's looking at me, so we need to stop. Okay.
Thank you. Well, I don't know. I just hate to have you guys go. Everybody has all these questions. Why don't you leave? How can they get a hold of you? That might be something.
Here's the card.
Yeah, we have our cards.
All right.
And we can give cards to
Give me the
folks.
cards.
With our contact. And I mean, you know, we can probably hang out for a few minutes in the back if anybody wants to chat real quick.
During the film? That's terrific. Well, listen, thank you so much, Gloria Gray and Scott Houston from the Water District. And
Thank you.
now we have our movie, which it's called Tapped. It's by the makers of Who Killed the Electric Car. Remember we showed that about 6 years ago or so? And it's supposed to be fabulous. So I hate to, God, I feel embarrassed kicking you out. It's not just going to go get some water, right? And actually, he's killing the mics. All right, we're going to have, yes, Mark? Yes, I'm going to go get some. I'm going to be going to get some popcorn and actually big, because we have those plastic bottles